Hello and welcome to the Living in Salida podcast, a podcast that offers insights into the charm and reality of living, working, and playing in the small mountain town of Salida, Colorado. I'm your host, McCarthy, a realtor that specializes in buying and selling in the Salida, Colorado area. In addition to helping people buy and sell property here, I love connecting with the wonderful people in our community, learning about their experiences in our town, and sharing these little slices of life in Salida with you. And with me today is Courtney Landry. Courtney is the head of school for the Salida Montessori Charter School. She's the mother of 3 children here. In addition to having her children go through the Montessori program here, she's held numerous roles within the school there. And before rising to the head of school in 2020. And so she's going to give us some good insights into the Salida Montessori School here and education in Salida and being a parent in Salida. So thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I just want to point out, if you're interested in education in Salida, or you're a parent here raising children, or you're thinking of raising children in Salida, this is a really good episode for you. And first, Courtney, I want to just start out with a nice little softball question I like to ask everybody, which is, what brought you to Salida? Tell us your origin story and how you ended up here.
Sure, yeah. So I met my husband in Los Angeles.
Okay.
We were both working in the film industry, and he was from Colorado.
Okay.
Born and raised, wasn't born, but raised in Lake City, Colorado.
Okay.
Small town. Went to Gunnison High School.
Oh, wow, that is small.
His brother was living here at the time. He was the engineer for the hospital that was being built.
Oh, okay.
So we had just had our first child.
Okay.
And this was 18 years ago.
Okay.
So he was 1, and we decided we wanted to slow our life down and leave LA, and we came here.
Wow. So did you know anybody in Salida at all?
Only his brother and his family. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then how often did you visit before you decided to move?
1 time.
Just 1 time. Oh, wow. That's quite
Yes.
the bold move.
Yeah. Well, we knew we wanted to move closer to family. I'm from
Okay.
Atlanta, so it was Atlanta or here.
Okay.
And he had no interest in Atlanta. So
Gotcha.
I was like, okay. I will say the first time I visited, I did not think I would live here.
Well, it's very different than LA, I would imagine.
Yeah, and it's not
like
that I was
polar opposite.
Yeah, I wasn't like tied to LA, but
Yeah.
I definitely was concerned about moving to a small town. We
Yeah.
thought about Lake City.
Okay.
We thought about Durango, and then when
Yeah.
his brother moved here with his kids and family, we were like, let's try Salida.
Yeah.
So that's why we came.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So when was that? Did you say 2007?
So that was 2007.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, Salida's grown quite a bit even from then. So.
A great deal.
A great deal. Yeah,
Yes.
you can go some insights into that.
Yeah.
So, so then was part of the reason you came here to that, obviously you wanted to be near family. So is that raising your child here, and then obviously you had 2 more. So was that a thought for you?
Yeah. So when we came, we knew when we lived in LA, my husband was working in the film industry still. I had left and gone back to grad school for psychology.
Okay.
And so I had kind of left that career. He was still doing it and would often leave in the morning before our son woke up and would get home after he was in bed.
Oh,
and he
wow.
was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And he had supported me through grad school, and I was like, great, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? So,
Yeah.
So he left the business and we moved here, and really knew nobody and just kind of figured it out. And it was a really easy place to meet people, and we love it. We're still here. So.
Yeah, obviously. And you're very integrated now. So
I guess so. Yeah.
So like I said at the beginning, you've held many hats in the Montessori school system here.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us, just for anyone listening who's like, what the heck is Montessori? Maybe I've heard that word. Tell us
Sure.
what that is, and then your experience with the school system here.
Okay, sure. So Montessori it can be a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Okay.
But Montessori comes from Maria Montessori, who was a doctor over 100 years ago, and she was one of the first doctors in Italy. So I won't get into a whole boring history of it, but the long and the short of it is she learned through a lot of observation of young children
Okay.
what the things that they're capable of. So she kind of created this whole education system, and we try to be as faithful as we can be in modern times and as a public school.
Okay.
So there's a couple things to know about us. We are a public Montessori charter school.
Yeah.
So K through 8 is free, no tuition.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that we are a private school still, so that's
Yeah.
like hard to get out there. There was a private Montessori school here that opened the year we moved here.
Oh,
And that
okay.
was one of the reasons why I agreed to move here, because I had gone to Montessori and so had my husband.
Oh, okay.
And
you
so we
already had
knew that we
background.
wanted Montessori
Okay.
for our kids. So we moved, and I kind of lost track of your question. Oh, Montessori. So the good thing about Montessori is, kind of the major like tenets, the things that are in
Yeah.
most Montessori schools are mixed age classrooms,
Mm-hmm.
the 3-hour work period in the morning, kind of uninterrupted time for the kids to really like dive in and focus on what they're working without being interrupted. Everything is to their size. It's meant to be a home away from home. It's meant to be very comfortable. It's often small group lessons and based on the skill level rather than the grade level or the age of the child.
Yeah.
And we really work hard to attend to the whole child. And it's not just a trigger word for us or like a popular word.
Yeah.
We really do look at the whole, like the emotional health and the physical health and the academic possibilities of each child, and then we try to really hard to meet them where they are. And if they just need to sit in a room and be quiet for a while or roll around on the floor for a few minutes, like we try to allow that, especially in the younger ages, maybe not in the older ages,
Sure.
but so that they can get to a place where they can receive the education.
Oh, yeah, and not force them to sit for long periods of time, for example.
Yeah, and that is a difference too, as we
Yeah.
don't have classrooms with desks and the kids all have an assigned seat or however it works. But they do have flexibility. They can roll out a rug in the middle of the floor and they can work with a friend or work alone or work with a group, and they can sit at a floor table or they can sit at a high table or they can work in the hall. There's just a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of movement throughout the day.
Yeah.
And the other big thing that we really incorporate is peace education. And
Okay.
so that's kind of woven into everything we do.
What is that? Talk about what peace education is.
Sure. So it's not that the kids come to us and they automatically know how to be peaceful, but how do you teach children to express themselves, especially when they're upset? How do you teach them to listen to others when they've upset somebody else or they need to express like, hey, let's work this out, and how to have conflict respectfully, which I think we all need a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's adults that probably could still use some help with that.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. It looks a little bit different all the way through. If you ever visit a children's house classroom, that's our 3 to 5 year olds. So it includes kinders.
Yeah,
as you know.
My little guy's there, yeah.
And they love the peace rose in that classroom. So they will pull that out, the girls especially, and any little issue they want to we need to have a peace rose, and they pass it back and forth. They only speak when they're holding it, and they have to listen when they're not.
Yeah.
And that's how, and in the toddler room, even younger, it starts with, oh, look at her face. She looks really sad. Why do you think she's sad? And just helping to process somebody else's experience and recognizing it, and then it continues to evolve as you go through.
Absolutely. So it's very age appropriate, and it sounds like the teachers are trained to guide the kids through that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing. I love that. And so I guess to clarify for the ages and for what our school here in Salida provides. So what age groups do you guys cover?
Sure. So we start with the toddlers, that's 1 and walking, and we go all the way through 8th grade.
Okay.
So we have mixed age classrooms. The 1 and 2 year olds are together. 3 through 5 are together. 1st through 3rd grades are together. 4th through 6th grades, and then 7th and 8th grade.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And then, and I know you said, so it's considered, I guess, private through before the kinder, right?
So, we're actually a public preschool also.
Public preschool.
But it is tuition
right.
based. So, so it's tuition based for the 1 year olds through the 4 year olds. We participate in universal preschool, so UPK for 4 year olds.
If you don't live in Colorado, it's a very good thing. We're doing that this year, and it's nice.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's basically a little bit of a stipend to go towards preschool.
Yes.
So. Wonderful.
And we do have a lot of scholarship. We have some really nice people who've helped build that up with some generous donations. So we do have some financial aid available for kiddos that are younger than kindergarten. And then once you're in kindergarten, it is public education, so it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. And so I know you guys, from being, my son is part of the school, and, as a parent there's also, a limited number of people that you can accept every year, right?
Yes.
So I wanted to kind of just talk a little bit
Sure.
about that, because, childcare in Salida can be a challenge, as in many places too. We're definitely not alone in that here, but as a small town, we don't have a ton of options, particularly under pre-K age, so you're one of the few options in town for that.
Yes, I would say we are a bit of a childcare desert here in this community. I think it's getting better. I think there have been more and more spaces. Arc Valley has opened up recently, and that's another great program. And Kathy's program with the Discovery Ranch. Like, there's so many good programs, but there's more kiddos than spaces.
Sure.
And you're limited by your license as to how many spaces you can have.
Sure.
So we do a lottery every year. We just had our lottery for next school year. So the way we do it is we have an open enrollment period from early February through late March, early April, and all the applications that come in during that window go into the lottery, and we at the same time ask our current families, do you intend to come back or not? So we kind of have a gauge of where some openings are. We run a lottery, and then for the kids who don't get in right away, they just get added to the wait list, and it's all lottery drawn for the wait list.
Gotcha.
And I would love to let all the kids in,
but
we just can't.
And that's the case with a lot of the schools or preschools here, and
Absolutely.
So and then it's a lottery. I'm genuinely asking this question because my child's just in the 4-year-old class. Is it as you get older too, right? To get into like first grade and
so the lottery is for every grade. Starts with 1-year-olds all the way up. We start with the oldest kids on down when we're doing the lottery, which is probably information you don't really need. But you
got to have a system, though.
We have a system, and it's all automated through like a second vendor. It's not through us.
Yeah.
And we try to keep families together.
Gotcha.
So in our lottery, if you live in Salida, you have a little bit of a preference over out-of-district families.
Okay.
If you live out of state, that's even harder.
Gotcha.
And then siblings will automatically move to the top of the list if one sibling gets an open spot.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
So when you get your oldest in, then you're more likely to get your other kids in.
We try. It gets harder as we have grown a little bit. Now we often have so many siblings that sometimes even that can be challenging, and sometimes people have to wait, which is never something we like to say.
Sure. And they get a little bit of a preference if they were on the wait list the prior year, right?
They do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember that. We were on the wait list for a few years.
But
if
you apply like in a previous year during open enrollment, then you will get your name in the lottery twice.
That's right.
And also if you qualify for free and reduced lunch, we don't actually offer lunch, which is kind of a confusing whatever. But
term, I guess.
But there is like a form that you fill out that is accepted, statewide.
Gotcha.
And so it's basically looking at income levels.
Okay.
And so if you do have an income level that qualifies you for that, then we also allow you to have your name in the lottery twice, just to make it really, as fair as we can.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're making it as equitable as possible with, the limitations
we're trying. And we do every year. The wait list is only good for 1 year. So that is another hard thing, is sometimes families miss it. We try to make sure they know you have to reapply every year.
Oh, that's
And then during the year, like right now, say, even though we just concluded our lottery, anybody can still apply. You just get added to the wait list in the order that you apply.
And then sometimes you do get called. I know we were on the wait list all summer and got in at the very end. And I do tell people that when I talk to my other mom friends who are like, oh, we were third on the wait list. Like, what do you think? So, it's a coveted spot for sure.
I think just preschool in general, I think we're lucky to be amongst a group of good people. But I think there are oftentimes spaces where people will hold the space because, of course, you don't want to give it up when you have it. Yeah. But sometimes you might think you're going to have a change of plans, like you're moving, but you don't want to give it up just in case. Yeah. And so we do often have openings pop up right at the beginning of the school year or right at the end of summer.
And then even at the beginning of the school year too, I've seen. So that happens. So, but it's a great program. I know, it just has, I think, obviously I'm a little biased, but I can tell from just speaking with other parents in town, a lot of people are trying to, get their kids in the Montessori program just because they like the program as well. So not just for childcare.
Yes, so. I think, we love it when people come and they kind of know a little bit about who we are or they're interested, because it can be different. It can feel different. We are, I think we have the biggest classrooms, like the most children in our preschool classrooms, because we have about 24, 25 kids in that two children's house classrooms.
That's right.
And that's great for us, for our program and what we do.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are surprised when they come to visit, because when you're observing, the classroom is often fairly quiet and organized, and the kids are very purposefully working.
Yeah.
And I think some people don't realize that 3-year-olds can do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty incredible how quickly kids can kind of gain that independence and
yes,
and then when they come home, they may or may not apply it. It's just they're always very good at school.
Yeah,
my son always hands me his backpack as soon as I pick him up, and I'm like, no, you need to carry it yourself. You can do it.
Yeah, I would say one of my greatest parenting wins was when my youngest hit kindergarten. I retired from making lunches.
Ooh,
I gave them all a lesson on how to make lunch.
Okay.
And then I told them you have to have, a protein and what that was, and you need to have a vegetable, you need to have a fruit, you need to have, you can have carb.
Yeah.
And then I dedicated one whole drawer in the refrigerator for their lunches, and it was their job to tell me when they were out of something or they needed something.
Wow.
And I never made another lunch.
That is amazing. Yeah, and actually that's a great segue, because I wanted to talk to you about, you as a parent. So you have 3 kids that have gone through, I guess one of your oldest graduated, is now in college, but went through the Montessori program. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then your other kids are going through that. What are the ages of your other kids?
Yeah, so Jack, my oldest, he's 19, so he's at University of Kansas right now and having a great time.
Lovely.
My middle, Savannah, is 17. She's a junior at Salida High.
Okay.
And my youngest is in 8th grade at the Montessori, so this is her last year there.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
So I guess your crew is almost done with the Montessori program.
Yes, it will be very strange next year. I
bet, yeah.
Yeah.
But so you've traveled, you've had a child go through from the very beginning stages.
I have. Jack started there was a private Montessori school that was in town prior to the charter Montessori school, so he started at Montessori when he was 3, and so did Savannah. By the time Raleigh started, she started at 2, and it was still private.
Yeah.
When I think Jack was in 4th grade, Savannah was in 2nd, and Raleigh was 4 when Salida Montessori Charter School opened.
Oh, okay.
I think you asked me earlier how I got involved.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say, let's circle back to that question. Yep. I almost forgot that I asked that too.
Yes. So I started, I was one of those moms that had, a bunch of kids kind of close together. So 3 kids, and I was volunteering when I could. Jack and Savannah started at the Twos program with Kathy, which is now the Discovery Ranch.
Oh, okay.
And I started volunteering there and just helping out when I could a little bit. And so I just like to be involved.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite ready to just stay home all the time. So be careful, all of you volunteers out there.
They're going to reel you in.
I started as a volunteer, sometimes subbing. When the private school was closing, the head of school of that school came to a group of announced to the parents and the staff that they're going to close the school, they're going to leave. What do we want to do with the school? Mm-hmm. So a group of us all came together, and it kind of became this core group of 8 of us. We met every week for 2 years and wrote the charter.
Oh, wow.
For the school. And then when the school opened, one of the people who helped write it was a teacher who became the head of school.
Okay.
And I had handled enrollment.
Okay.
Until the school opened.
Gotcha.
And then they had a huge grant that they had received. It was a CSP grant for expansion. It doesn't matter, sorry. But anyways, and so they asked me if I wanted a job, just a part-time job to do all the buying for the grant.
Okay.
So I took that part-time job because at that point my youngest had just started full days in preschool.
Oh, okay. So it's well timed to have a little extra time.
And so I started doing that and did that for a couple of years, and then it just became all of enrollment and all of the like admin stuff, overflow. And from there, I was on the board also for the school.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like our baby. It was like the people who had started the school all worked together and then became the first board. And then from there, when the original head of school, he was with us the first 4 years, he moved away. Okay. And we hired somebody, and he was just with us for a year. Mm-hmm. And so by mid-year of that 19-20 year, we knew we needed somebody to fill in. I have a master's in psychology with a specialization in early childhood, and I had been a part of the school. And so myself and another board member decided, well, we'll step in temporarily until you find the new head of school.
And that was in 2020.
And the funny thing, that was February of 2020 when we agreed to do that.
What a time to take it on, right?
It was such a fun time. So it was a lot. It was a whole lot. And so we took it on, and unfortunately my buddy who had said he would help out, he was a great help, but he also developed long COVID and couldn't really do much. So it mostly, I mean, he came and he helped and supported where he could, but a lot of the nuts and bolts kind of came to me. So
and then here you are.
And then here I am. This is my 5th year. So I'm still
just
here.
Taking it on. I mean, and what a challenging time. I just want to acknowledge that to take on a new role and one of the harder times to be running education in our
I like to say it made everything else easier.
There you go. So this year is golden. You don't have to worry about all the other stuff.
Those first couple years were crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was so hard to navigate. Yeah. Closures and masks and all the things. So, back to normal education
so that's kind of how I got here. I'm not a trained teacher. I am not Montessori trained. My husband and I, like I said, did go to Montessori when we were younger. Yeah. And I have learned a lot over the years that I've been there. And the school's grown a lot. So, when we opened, there was maybe like 70 kids total. Yeah. And now this current year we have 198 total population.
Okay. So like toddler through
8th grade. Okay. So we've had some moves here and there. It's always been a dream to have one building for all of us. So that's super exciting. We got a BEST grant about a year and a half ago. I don't even remember now when it was.
Well, you guys announced it at the holiday tea, not this past December, but the December before.
Yeah, so we got it probably like a month before that.
Okay, yeah.
And so we were we were an alternate on the BEST list, and so we got the money later than most other schools. But we are really fortunate. We've got a great team, and they're trucking along over there on that
so tell us more about this. So the BEST grant, this is to expand the school, or to build one school, because right now you're in 2 locations.
We are in 2 locations, and I should be clear, because we're not allowed to grow with the BEST grant.
Yeah, I know. I corrected myself because I knew that fine. As well.
Yeah, so we are building a new location to absorb all of us in one place.
That's right, yeah.
And so it's right on J Street. It's up the street from Longfellow, and we are super excited. So they're slated to open that in January of next year, 2026.
That feels soon.
I mean, feels soon.
I know we just drove by it the other day, and it's coming along quick, it looks like.
It is. They are very motivated. We've got a great team. It's the Hazelden Dieslin team, and they've done, I think, the last 4 schools in this community. I mean, between the high school and the middle school, and maybe not the middle school, but elementary and BV.
So they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, and they keep us organized.
Totally. Yeah, so this is a really big deal for the Montessori school, to put everybody together and have it all together. And so I know one of the things I didn't want to forget to mention is, you have this BEST grant, but there is still more funding needed, right? To build this school. So tell us a little bit about fundraising for anybody who's interested or wanting to support the school.
Yes, if you love education and you want to help out. So we do have a BEST grant, which we're so thankful for. We're super grateful, and it's a generous amount. And we got the grant late. and prices for a lot of things started to rise,
yeah.
and just in the last, bit have been rising significantly more.
Yeah.
So we've been really careful with our funding, and there's some things that we've had to cut along the way just to make sure that we can get the building built.
Gotcha.
And so, like, our playground is something we're still fundraising for.
Oh, okay.
Like, specifically, all the playground structures, which can be expensive, and
yeah.
so there's always needs there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. So we if anybody wants to, we love donations.
Definitely. So how do people do that? For anyone listening, on the website, I believe you have some ways to do that.
I think on the website you can access it. I should know this better, but you can
okay.
also email us at info@salidamcs.org if you're interested in donating, and we can hook you up from there.
Okay. Yeah. So the Salida, or you could always Google Salida Montessori Charter School.
Yeah. Our website is mysmcs.org, and
yeah.
Either of those places I think will get you where you want to go.
Yeah, and you can inquire and just get more information, because it's a huge benefit for our community to have a new school and have all of those kiddos together and continue supporting good education in our town.
Yeah,
so.
like I said, we're super fortunate. I think Longfellow is a great school. I think Crest is a great school. I think the middle school is a great school, and the high school, I think there's just and Horizon. I think there's a lot of really dynamic options in this town, and I think that keeps bringing more and more people to our community because there's options.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of families coming here. I know just in my experience and being a parent here, but also being a realtor here, seeing who's coming and the type of people who are reaching out to me to buy homes, there are a lot of younger families coming here. So we do have really good education here, and that, Montessori is one of those options, and you mentioned a few others. So I feel like kids are in a good spot here.
I think so.
Being a small town especially.
Yeah. And I just feel like, I feel really fortunate. We have a really passionate staff. Like, my teachers just love what they do, and they love the kids, and I think that makes for a happy place to be, a happy place to bring your kids.
And it's kind of like, we're a family-friendly town, I feel like.
I agree.
It's got that community vibe. You can easily meet other families, just at the park, and, it feels welcoming in that way. I think if you're brand new here, it's not hard to meet other people.
I don't think even a little bit. I think everybody's so excited to meet other families and kids the same ages, and whether you're playing at the river or you're swimming at the pool or you're playing at the park, there's skate park. I mean, there's just
totally
a lot of avenues, and I've never really had a bad experience. The people are generally very friendly.
I know.
I've loved raising my kids here.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I love it. I think we're in such a good place. And thank you for being a positive source in the childhood lives here in Salida, and for being here today. And so everybody of you are interested in the Salida Montessori School, that was mysmcs.org. And thank you so much for listening. Again, I'm Monica McCarthy, a realtor who specializes in Salida and surrounding areas. And if you're interested in connecting with me, whether it's to help you buy or sell a home here, or about being on this podcast in the future, please reach out to me. And I'd love it if you share this episode with somebody that you think might be interested in it. Thanks for listening, and take care.